ये केजरीवाल भ्रष्ट नहीं है। मैंने केवल अपनी जिंदगी में ईमानदारी कमाई है। इन्होंने झूठा केस लगाया और आज ये साबित हो गया। कोर्ट ने कहा है कि केजरीवाल कट्टर ईमानदार है, मनीष सिसोदिया कट्टर ईमानदार है, आम आदमी पार्टी कट्टर ईमानदार है। मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी से कहना चाहता हूँ, सत्ता के लिए इस तरह से खिलवाड़ मत कीजिए देश के साथ, इस तरह से संविधान के साथ खिलवाड़ मत कीजिए। आपको सत्ता चाहिए, अच्छे काम कीजिए। आज देश के सामने इतनी बड़ी बड़ी समस्याएं हैं, महंगाई है, बेरोजगारी है, पूरे देश में सड़कें टूटी पड़ी है, चारों तरफ पोल्यूशन ही पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, चारों तरफ देश में इतनी समस्याएं हैं। उन समस्याओं का समाधान करके सत्ता में आइए ना। केजरीवाल पे, आम आदमी पार्टी पे झूठे केस क्यों करते हैं?
It is a moment of vindication for Arvind Kejriwal in the Liquorgate case, but we are not going to speak about Kattar Imandar's return right now. We shine the spotlight on the court tearing apart CBI for flawed investigation and poor charge sheet. The Rouse Avenue Court came down heavily on the Central Bureau of Investigation, flagging serious flaws in its charge sheet in the Delhi liquor policy case. The Rouse Avenue Court has delivered a scathing indictment of the CBI, effectively dismantling agency's charge sheet in the case. In unusually sharp language, the court said CBI's approach was particularly disturbing, accusing the investigating officer of showing a complete disregard for facts and prosecuting public servants despite the absence of substantive evidence. The court held that the witness statements relied upon by the agency did not meet basic evidentiary standards and noted that allegations were kept deliberately fluid, appearing to follow a conscious and calculated stratagem. Rejecting the core prosecution narrative, the court found no evidence of manipulation or influence in the framing of Delhi excise policy and no material linking the policy to criminal intent. Crucially, the court also recorded that there is no evidence against Kejriwal or Sisodia and strongly objected to region-based labeling of accused persons part of South Group, calling it arbitrary, unwarranted, and carrying an unavoidable undertone. Emphasizing that criminal adjudication must rest on conduct proved by evidence, the court warned that the suspicion and conjuncture cannot substitute proof, sending an unambiguous message that investigative overreach weakens the justice system and cannot be sustained by law. The court's remark have handed fresh ammunition to the opposition, with both the Congress and Aam Aadmi Party alleging systematic misuse of central agencies by the BJP. Congress leader says that the pattern is unmistakable. Cases against opposition leaders accelerate before elections, while probe involving the BJP's convenient allies slow down or quietly fade. AAP leaders argue that the liquor case proves how investigative agencies are weaponized to damage political rivals rather than deliver justice. Both parties insist that repeated judicial setbacks exposed what they call a politically motivated investigation model driven from the top, aimed at shaping electoral narratives rather than securing convictions. I'll play out those bites. In studio, I'm joined by Brijesh Pandey. Brijesh, I was running those graphics. Where did the agency fail?
I think the real question would be where it didn't. This failure was written all over the very bulky charge sheet it filed. And if you look at the fact that court came down like a ton of bricks on almost every aspect of investigation, I mean, it was a very sorry state of affairs. And the worst thing is, Kartikeya, that this is not acquittal, this is discharge. This means that the case is not even fit to go to trial. So the court ripped apart all the arguments put forth by the investigative agency. Imagine the court going to the extent by asking the CBI to take administrative action, disciplinary action against the IO, the investigating officer of the case, for the kind of shoddy job he has done. And it has brought back Arvind Kejriwal again on the national political center like anything.
So where do you think the flaw was in the charge sheet?
I think there were several flaws. One of the key flaws was that they were not able to prove to the court beyond reasonable doubt that the policy was created to generate backdoor money, and also the PMLA case which was later on registered by the enforcement directorate. There was no seizure of money. There was no substantive and evidence linking Kejriwal directly. If you I would want to recall that the Kejriwal name was not in the first charge sheet. The Kejriwal name was not in the first supplementary, second supplementary. It was in the fourth supplementary where his name was added. And the court also did not like the practice of converting accused as approvers, and then allowing the approvers, as the term which was used, to fill in the blanks of the CBI's narrative. So this was like, what court actually meant was that you were turning accused into approvers to substantiate your own theory. There was no staccato or standalone substantive theory which was incriminating Arvind Kejriwal or even the remaining 22 persons. So it was I mean, if you look at the number of years which have gone by, I mean, and the court not finding the charge sheet even fit to go to trial is, I think, a massive embarrassment for the Central Bureau of Investigation.
There was one political allegation which Arvind Kejriwal made. Let me play that one specific bite.
ये पूरा षड्यंत्र किसने रचा, क्यों रचा? ये पूरा षड्यंत्र दो लोगों ने मिलकर रचा, नरेंद्र मोदी जी और अमित शाह जी। और आज उन दोनों को पूरे देश से माफी मांगनी चाहिए। उन दोनों ने मिलकर षड्यंत्र रचा कि आम आदमी पार्टी को खत्म किया जाए, आम आदमी पार्टी को बर्बाद किया जाए। और उस षड्यंत्र के तहत आजाद भारत का सबसे बड़ा और सबसे घिनौना षड्यंत्र रचा उन लोगों ने। वो देख रहे थे कि दिल्ली में वो हमें नहीं हरा सकते। वो देख रहे थे कि दिल्ली की जनता हमारे कामों से बहुत खुश है। वो देख रहे थे दिल्ली में कामों की राजनीति के आधार पे वो कहीं खड़े नहीं होते, तो उन्होंने एक षड्यंत्र रचा। जनता जानती है कि केजरीवाल ईमानदार, उन्होंने कहा केजरीवाल की ईमानदारी पे चोट करो। जनता जानती है कि आम आदमी पार्टी ईमानदारी, उन्होंने कहा आम आदमी पार्टी की ईमानदारी पे चोट करो। उन्होंने आम आदमी पार्टी को खत्म करने के लिए षड्यंत्र रचा और बोले केजरीवाल बेईमान है, केजरीवाल बेईमान है, केजरीवाल बेईमान है, केजरीवाल ने शराब घोटाला किया, केजरीवाल पैसे खा गया, केजरीवाल ने 100 करोड़ रुपए खा लिए। मैंने जिंदगी में केवल ईमानदारी कमाई है, मैंने जिंदगी में केवल इज्जत कमाई है, एक नया पैसा नहीं कमाया मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में। इन लोगों की तरह नहीं हूं मैं। मैंने जिंदगी में एक नया पैसा नहीं कमाया, केवल ईमानदारी कमाई है। और ये उस ईमानदारी के ऊपर चोट करना चाहते थे, उसके लिए इन्होंने षड्यंत्र रचा था।
Kejriwal's party has lost ground in Delhi, but do you think that this will make a difference when it comes to his political charm, or will it make a difference to his political value in Delhi? The state is lost.
Well, I think it has given Kejriwal a second lease of political life.
Okay.
If you remember, post the loss of Delhi, Kejriwal had completely withdrawn himself from the politics of Delhi. There was barely any appearance of Arvind Kejriwal in the state of Delhi. He had kind of relocated himself to Punjab, looking after affairs of Punjab and strategizing for his party to win elections in Punjab. But he was completely absent in Delhi. I think what this judgment has done is that judgment has given a massive boost to Arvind Kejriwal, and you have already seen the way Arvind Kejriwal and his MLAs and party workers are now gone on offensive. I think now you will see more of Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi, and also Arvind Kejriwal going to town about how he has been persecuted, how he has been trapped in a fake embezzlement case, and now he has been dealt by the political narrative. It will also not only help Kejriwal, it will help Mamata Banerjee and Stalin, because if you remember, for the last 3 years, one of the key narrative of the opposition leading parties was that ED and CBI are being used as tools by the centre to harass its political opponent. I think this particular judgment will give a massive boost to those allegations.
Okay. Another important thing is that this also creates a template for future investigations. But this also casts a spotlight on CBI's past performance. Like, for example, you look at the Arushi's case.
Yeah.
If you look at the Nithari case, in several high-profile cases, I think the agency has been wanting in performance.
Well, I think they have allowed too much of political influence to rise up to their original idea of being India's premier most investigative agency. And the conduct of CBI and or Enforcement Directorate of late, which is considered to be a CBI into 100, has left several very important question unanswered, question about personal liberty, question about why these agencies are going only after opposition leaders, and various other uncomfortable questions. And I think time has come for the Supreme Court also to put a cap on this. If you look at the several judgment during the Chief Justice Sanjeev Khanna's tenure and going on from there, they had castigated Enforcement Directorate also in a very bad light. So it's not good for the premier most investigative agency in the country to be treated like this, by the court, where the court is saying that they have allowed their fantasy to run amok rather than to deal with or provide substantial evidence to the court. And I think if you look at the judgment,
despite this, the Congress and Kejriwal are not on the same page. Today they fought against each other.
I think that's the second most important story. What has happened is that not only they fought against each other, it was also a Congress versus India alliance fight, because all the other India alliance, be it Stalin, be it Mamata Banerjee, be it Akhilesh Yadav, they all were backing Arvind Kejriwal. But the Congress has also realized that it's time for either India alliance or look for their own survival in politics. And I think they've gone for their own survival, and that is the reason.
I think it was a pretty sharp exchange. I mean, what Supriya Srinath tweeted, virtually saying that our leader does not cry. I mean, what was she saying? Our leader does not cry. Whereas, when Kejriwal came out, he became very emotional.
I mean, the fact is that there's no love lost. We heard Pawan Kheda, we saw Supriya Srinath tweeting, we saw other political leaders. They're saying what happened about Sheila Dikshit. You make all kind of baseless allegations. Did you apologize to her? So what are you talking about? But I think, more than this, Kejriwal was very acerbic towards Prime Minister and Home Minister and all. But, his party and he is now equally acerbic towards Congress. He said, why is because one of the tweets said that there's some sort of a patch up between BJP and Congress.
Basically saying that the Congress leaders don't go to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
I was the one who went to jail.
Sonia.
So the Congress saying that our leader is not afraid. He's not he's the one who is crying. But that's the retort between the Congress and Aam Aadmi Party. But I leave you with the visuals of Kejriwal. The man became pretty emotional.
मैंने केवल ये केजरीवाल भ्रष्ट नहीं है। मैंने केवल अपनी जिंदगी में ईमानदारी कमाई है।